The book is called Adventures of an Accidental Sociologist, and the subtitle is How to Explain the World Without Becoming a Bore. And I think you should know that this is a book of great historical significance, because it must be the only book in history ever written to disprove a joke. And I better tell you the joke, otherwise my sentence doesn't make sense. The joke is this patient talks to his doctor, who tells him, "I have bad news for you. All the tests are in now, you probably have about a year to live." Well, the patient, after getting over this shock, says to the doctor, "Do you have any suggestions?" And the doctor says, "Yes, marry a sociologist and move to North Dakota." And the patient asks, "Will this cure my condition?" The doctor says, "No, but the year will seem much longer." The book is intended to show that being a sociologist can be a lot of fun. I became a sociologist by mistake, like many things in at least my life and about other people. I came to America as a very young man, and I went to college, and then I thought I should find out more about American society. And I thought that sociology tells about society. Well, I had no money. I came with my parents, lived in New York, was barely 18 years old. And the only place in New York where I could do graduate work in sociology was the New School for Social Research. It was a very peculiar institution. It's less peculiar now. It was mostly at that time staffed by refugee professors from Europe. And my very first course in sociology was called Balzac as a sociologist. And the professor, who was a very brilliant man, used Balzac's novels to explain certain basic concepts of sociology, which made a lot of sense, because Balzac intended his novels to be a picture of French society in the early 19th century from top to bottom. Well, I must have read about 10, 12 novels of Balzac's in that semester. I only had money for one course, so that's all I took. By the end of that semester, I knew a lot about Paris in the early 19th century. I didn't know any more about America than I did before I started. But then I got hooked on sociology, and on the kind of sociology that was taught at the New School at the time, which is very close to literature. And Balzac became a kind of icon for me, a man who, if one is to believe his biographers, would run around every night all through Paris to every place he could think of to find out what made people think about their passions and their crimes and their habits. And that, to me, is what sociology is basically all about. Trying to figure out what people do, why they do it, and what the consequences are.